Hello everybody, it's me, Luigi. Just kidding, it's me, James, Beneficial Z. Today, we're gonna do some more farming Valley. And hopefully my crops didn't die. But as you can see... Wait. Put this like right here. Now it's me, Luigi. As you can see, there's like a spring thing here. Okay, I gotta water these. Water those. No, you. Oh, okay. Is there a rainbow today? Yes, there is. Hey there, Eulif. And Jade. Hey Jade, I have a gift for you. Wait, can I gift her a dirt block? Gift held item. Sorry, Jade. I gave her a dirt block! Gift held item. Oh, only one a day? Okay. Look at this! I'm gonna make a little path down there. Let's just make sure it doesn't go into hell. I gave her dirt. Now they can get out. I might add some stairs. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Wait. Gives you 8? That's not normal Minecraft. It usually gives you 4, right? No! But yeah, usually gives you 4. Voila. Alright. Now, once these crops grow, I'm gonna buy... Ooh, hi. Hi, Johan. Oh my, it's such a pleasure to see you once more. I told you! I told you he'd say that. Ah! Yeah, you can. This gift is good. Is it? I feel cheap. You know how I got these stairs? I'm gonna make my life easier. Well, that's where I put my first crafting table. Maybe not. Don't hit them again. Alright. Once these crops grow, I'm buying new crops. That is a nice house. Alright. Was this back when crops could be trampled instead of Hey, have a gift. Alright. Basically, I want to end up having Jade marry me. Oh yeah, I was going to double check. Chat? Oh, hello. Nice. Well, welcome to the stream. Never mind, you're all gone. Yeah, you can give Jade dirt. Ignore the. Come on, turnips. Aha! I missed one. Aha! Hi, Jade. How are you evil? Raw chicken. I wonder if they like raw chicken or they like it cooked. I think they like it cooked. I've also got raw beef. Ramen. I will gift you with raw cooked chicken. Hey, Johan. This gift is good. Shop? You can buy a car. Hey, Candace. You're Jenny. Cucumber seeds. That looks fun. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to plant those here. Plant those here. I'm going to host some more stuff. Wait, pickaxe? Yeah, let's just get rid of all the nasties. Alright. Don't trample my crops. Did I get more water yet? Yeah, I got more water right off the bat. Alright, here we go. Yeah, there we go. I think I still need to water those because the crops will disappear. Let's see how much money we make. I know, I sleep in a weird spot. Oh yeah, and I found out my skin works, and I also have armor on? Oh yeah, I forgot, I found armor in a village nearby. Soda. Oh yeah, autumn is a really dangerous time of year in this game. Because monsters spawn in the morning since it's darker. Oh, I got $2,000 now. And apparently I want tomatoes. Tomatoes and eggplants. Yes, they have eggplants in this game. Hey, Eulith. Dude, Eulith breaks his arm, and I'm like, don't worry, Eulith. Alright, let's see here. Is Candace down here? Oh, a torch. Oh, that's Ginny. Wait, it's 7:54 a.m. What's the times for Candace? Wait. Oh. Nine to 7. Wait, Saturday at 11. Better eat my ramen. That's shrimp and creamy chicken ramen. I could clear out some more space because next time we need a building. I need a chest. Oh yeah, I gotta give Candace with something. Or not Candace, but Jade. I think Candace is upstairs. It's okay if I lose my stone pickaxe because I have more wood and more stone. Alright. Hey Jade, I gotta cook chicken for you. I appreciate this. You'll be like, you do good with my daughter. Hey, Jenny. Candace should be up here. I want to adopt a dog. Ah. Wait, that wasn't a dog. Is this my dog? It's my dog. Rotten flesh. Here, have some rotten flesh. Come with me. I have a dog! You know what that means? I need to put a... Ow! I need to put a fence around my crops. Damn dog. Oh. Yeah! Why is there a tree in this building? Come on down to Metrio. Come on down to Metrio. Here, have a raw pork chop. Come with me, and you'll see a world of true imagination. Turnip, cucumber, grass, potato. Yes. Alright, I only have room for one potato crop. I'll leave that door open. But, yeah, I've got one potato crop. And I think... Hey there, Mr. Blue Jay. Alright, it's time for a beer. Whoops. Hey, open that door. Do you have a lead? I have to build the animal farm to get my lead. Wait, which floor am I on? Oh, I'm on the bottom floor. Hey, Jenny. Hey, I think I can buy one more crop, and it'll be more potatoes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Don't need to know that. Yeah! My dog can't come downstairs. It's tragic. And yes, that beer dripped all over me. Woo! There you are! Yay! Means I better build a fence around my crops. Come on, doggy. I might stream more of this tonight. Oh, you can definitely tell they're different crops now. Alright, time to make some fences. Wait, I have sticks. It's like this, right? Alright. Don't have to water my crops today. Hey! Good boy. Do I have any more wood? Oh, I do. I need to keep some of these logs for Yulif. Because he makes stuff out of logs. Alright, there we go. It's okay, I trust the other guys. It's you! Take pine wood. Alright, and then a gate is the other way around. What the heck just happened? What the heck just happened? Alright, I got a pine gate, which doesn't exist in Minecraft. Alright, that looks pretty good. Time to give the jade. Time to give the jade. You really don't like me, do you? Alright. I know what to do now. I wonder if you can do it this way. Yeah. Alright. Oak chest. Can I? Alright, I'm gonna put this, and the, where's the goddess flower? I'll put the goddess flower in here just in case. I like your collar. Yeah. Time to drop a log. What was that? No Google eyes? Bet when I wake up, my dog will have googly eyes. It's still raining? Also, it's almost summer, and cucumbers don't grow during summer. You know what I could buy? A crop reader. Jenny, is that you? Hey, Jenny. A good friend you are. Hey, you just friend zoned me. What in the world? Wow, this man is a good builder. It's Monday, so there should be stuff to buy. Only 7 days left in spring as well. Gotta gift something to Jade. As always. My brother is such a control freak. Doggo. You pet doggo. That's where I died. If I die again, it'll show up on the map as well. What's this? Oh, those are berries. I can sell those. No, I can't sell the blueberries, I don't think. But you know. You know how you know what they say. Take this blueberry bush with me. Can I sell berries? Ow. I'm getting lucky with this rain. And I've heard it rains a lot in autumn, which is really great for your crops. Wait, I know what I was going to do. I was going to buy that crop reader from Jenny. If I have enough. Hey, Jenny! Are you up here or downstairs? I thought there was a creeper in here for a second. Nice little balcony you have. Shop? Ooh, what? You can buy your doggy sunglasses? Yes! I'm totally doing that once I get enough. Wahoo! Ow! Sorry, Johan. Ow. Jenny, I need you. Shop. Crop reader. 1,000. I guess it's worth it. Yeah, and then I'll show you what this does. You go up to your crops. Dude, Candace is awesome. I know, right? Hello, fellow human. This is a good gift. This is a good joke. Alright, this crop reader tells me like phases of crop. What's this? Right here. Like this. Stage 4 out of 10. Stage 3 out of 8. Yeah, it's cool, huh? Yeah, that's cool. Requires water, yes. Well, we've got plenty of that coming from the sky. So where's the rainbow? The rainbow's still there. I know it is. It's just like on the horizon somewhere. Alright. Now I gotta water my crops. Each day that passes, crop goes into a new phase. Look at this. See? Eh? Yeah, I just realized I put some of these crops in sandy dirt. Alright, crop reader. Can I sell ink sacs? They like to kill themselves anyway, so... Can I? Nope. Oh yeah, my daily gift for Jade. Yeah. Jade is just a regular NPC, so... Crops will grow soon. Rainbow. Alright. Oh, we're almost out of spring. Get up. It's weird that they didn't do the water bottle thing on this one. Two more days. I'm done. I think I can gift these and she'll like it. You hear that zombie? All right. And tomorrow we'll have harvest. And I think we'll have some dead bushes on the 1st of summer. Yeah, the year's 120 days long. Didn't you know that? Whatever. Hey there, woodpecker. And these are ready, right? Potato! We'll see how rich we become. Oh, wow. Wait. I just sold a poisonous potato. the heck? It's Slender Man. Alright. Might as well. Let's see how much money we made, guys. Ooh, 1,000. Rainbow's different today. Oh. Oh, and I get to... I should have planted cucumbers sooner. Oh, winter's gonna suck, by the way. I need to get that animal farm. Season is spring, so I'm guessing in 2 days we'll have some dead bushes. So, you know, the last bit of the season in real farming is very crucial. I wish that zombie would shut up. I made a lot of money that time. Because cucumbers are worth a lot. Hey, Johan. Hey, Ginny. Oh, time of day. I'm gonna go give... What's her name? A flower? I think she likes flowers. So I'll give her an oxeye daisy. Hey, hey! Hey, hey! I'm doing something right! Oh, hi, owl! Wait, before I go to bed, I must plant crops that will grow through summer. Because in 2 days, those cucumbers will be dead. 10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock. Hi there. Whoa. Ah, it's Sunday. Ah. Metal Gear. Yeah. So you give her flowers and she'll be happy. I can sell those gold nuggets. I forgot. They're worth a lot. $4,000? Hey there, Mr. Robin. Or Redbird, or whatever you want to call him. Alright. Gift. Maybe one day. Hey, Ginny. Are those ink sacks still sitting over there? Wait, gold nuggets. Can't sell them? Maybe you can sell the nodes or whatever. Oh. You want some seeds, bitches? There you go. I know what I can buy. I can buy my doggy sunglasses after I buy some crops. Hey, Jenny. Jenny's from the Harvest Festival, apparently, which is a mod that's used a lot in this game. Stare into my eyes, Jenny. Stare into my eyes for an hour. Look deep into my soul and notice that it's not there. And be like, hey, where'd Mr. Soul go today? And I'd be like, he doesn't exist. But look into my eyes anyway. By the way, Markiplier is playing Roblox on Twitch. Shop for spring, summer, autumn. That's wheat, though. Hemp, flour, bread, grass, potato, turnip. Engineer's workbench. What the heck? Why are you selling multimeters? I'm not your electrician. I'll get wheat. Wheat is actually really good. Alright. And then we go upstairs. I know who Jim is, but y'all don't. 10 o'clock. Stare into my eyes with your enormous eyes, Candace. Stare into my eyes and wonder where my soul is. It's not there. See? I'm not a ginger, but I have no soul. What are you looking at, Oreo? This cat is my soul. He's my heart and my soul. Shop. Can I buy the doggy sunglasses? I can. Yes. Here, let's see what Mr. Doggy looks like with some sick shades. Better not be anybody throwing shade. Hey, doggo. Yeah! Hell yeah! Well, the reason I bought 6 is because... Wait, no! Fuck. Because the other ones are gonna die tomorrow. Which is annoying, I know. Ah, yes, it's cardinal. Happy summer! Ah! Run! And it's raining, so they won't die. See? Dead bushes. Crop is dead. Alright, I gotta open the land, allow cheats. Hey, crash. Crash. Yeah, there we go. So if I come to her with shears... Ha! She gives me a sickle. Now, I couldn't make shears on my own since there's like no iron ore in this game. Wheat seeds. Wheat seeds. Happy summer, everybody. Wheat seeds. Gift! Hey. If I were to drop the... Where's my chest? If I were to drop the goddess flower into this river... Hey, harvest goddess. Do you need anything else, my sweet? Alright, you're welcome, God. I'm gonna grab some white anemone. Anemone. Better than alimony. Ah! Ow. Can't die from poison. Time to cook some raw pork chops. Hey, God. Hunger. What happened to the googly eyes? Oh my. I think you can also sell these berries. Alright, let's go check what crops we can get. Shop. Onions. Tomatoes. Alright, and now I'm gonna hoe another area. Yeah, cool dog. Alright, that only takes 10 days. Have my axe out. You can't die now. Is that Skelly Bones still there? Not raining anymore. But watch out for monsters. Can I gift you some white anemone? Or some clovers? This god. Imagine how she'll feel when she knows we cheated on her for a few days. Just fall to your death already. I know you're under the ground. Ooh. There you are. They've just fallen into hell. You did not just see me mine dirt with a pickaxe. That was an illusion. Hey, cool dog. Gotta go water these crops. See, you can't die. Alright. Everything's watered. I've gifted. Yeah. Cave spiders suck in this game. They're terrible. Should I buy a car once I have enough money? Alright, I'm done with my beer. You want some more clovers? I appreciate this. She's like, oh, zombie! I'm guessing gifting is how you get them to like you. Oh yeah. Hello, immortal god. This one looks nice. Gotta sell something. Am I right, ladies? That's show business. Ow. Remember when I was giving her pork chops? Cool dog. Alright, as soon as my crops grow, I'll end it there. I'll end the video there. I need like a round camera. Okay. Hey, Jade, I got a gift for you. There we go. Time to get out my handy dandy crop reader. Four out of 10. Just like this game. I'm kidding. I do enjoy this. I really do. I need monies. Hey, Rain! Hey, Jenny. Hey, cool dog. Hey, Jade. Yeah, you are a nice girl. I have dandelions. I should be gifting her dandelions. Ginny? See? She can't die. That's interesting. Sugar canes. I'm just gonna, you know, plant some sugar canes. There we go. I'll be back for you, Jenny. Not Jenny, Jade. Sorry, Jenny, but Jade is my girl. Okay. I wonder. Nope. It's Sunday. Sunday sucks in this game. Is that the moon? I think this takes place on a different planet. This is good music. Wait, what if Ginny's open on Sunday, but Candace isn't? Because Ginny's who I need right now. That's Candace. Ow. Jeez. I have string but no slime balls. Time to gift the mother of the crops. Robin egg. I'm just waiting for what's her name to open at 9. Hey, Jenny. There we go. Can't just have no profits. Oh no, I'm fatigued. Time to go to bed. Ah, thank goodness. Hey, Jenny. This wheat's going to take 28 days to grow. I should have bought more tomatoes. I can wait this out. Wait. Baby. Jade. Hey, Jade. There we go. Okay. I can do this. Tomorrow's harvest. If you want to watch more of this series, go on Dan TDM's channel. He's got plenty of it. Still going to water this area. Make it easier to plant on. Cool dog. You'll never die again. Tomorrow is crop day. It's that time again, America. And then I'll buy more tomatoes for my dirt. Yay. Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay. Tomatoes are really good items to sell. And then we water stuff and wait for Jenny. As you can see, the tomato plants are still here, and they're on phase 7. So that's how you keep getting tomato crops. You don't have to wait 10 days every time. Oh. Ginny, it's time. I have the feeling you can't marry Ginny. Not Ginny, Jade. I hope that's not the case. Because I like Jade. I don't know about you guys. Jade's nice. I want to marry this girl named Jade in real life, but that never happened. That's never happened because she doesn't like me. So... Hey, Ginny, you know what time it is. You got the goods? Look into my eyes. Shop tomatoes. Oh yes, we're gonna have good money tomorrow. And then I need to build that animal shop. Hey, Mr. Yuliv. Animal Ranch. 6K. 100 wood. Alright. Can't find 100 wood in this game, so... Wait, what? That's cool. Time to go get the money. I like this music. I think it's great. I have $1,000. Time to go water some crops. And wheat's worth a lot, so once that grows. Hey, what? Okay. You say so. Gift time. Here, have a poppy. She's Purple Heart now. What the fuck? Why is there a guardian? Why is there a guardian? There's a guardian in that pond. There, I got you out of the water. There's a guardian in that pond. Why? Her heart is purple. Was the guardian gone? What the heck, man? So I found out I am getting Jade to like me. Kind of like I thought I was in real life, but then I realized, nope, she likes Alex Schwartz, and I was like, oh man. Oh, look at that heart. Yeah, she likes me. As soon as her heart gets red, I think I can marry her. Oh, she digs me. I have a tomato in my inventory. Don't eat it. Cool dog. I'll have a little. I'll see how much it is per tomato in a bit. Gotta get rid of Saturday and Sunday here. Oh, look, egg. Okay, it's like, I don't know still. Alright, so it's like $60. Yeah, $60. I was looking at the stream on the other side, which was delayed, so I could tell. I need to get 6,000. I miss FLOPHAWK. He's at his parents' house, his dad's house, so he can't, like, talk with me that much. So I miss talking to him. Because, as you may or may not know, FLOPHAWK is my very best friend. I've known him for, like, 2 years. have no idea how much I've watered, but I think this is it. Yeah. And Jade, I have a gift for you. You're welcome. Giving her flowers. See, our heart changed color. That means something happened. What if someone comes in that loves me automatically? I can't marry two people, right? That'd be weird. I want to see how this marriage thing works. Will it show like a little cutscene? Because that'd be cool. It's 5 o'clock already? In real life? More water. In some version of this mod, you need to watch your water consumption, which I think is cool, but also way too much. What is this, Subnautica? Alright. Let's see what we got. Oh! I got 2000 G. And apparently wheat takes 28 days to grow, which is crazy. Did I gift you yet? You're welcome. You are totally welcome. I know you like dandelions, so I'll be back with those. Why was there a guardian in that water? It's not like I'm near a sea temple. Are we gonna frick one day? I don't know. I like how you can go to bed during broad daylight. A little extra money for me. Wait, did I screw that up? Remember how I went across it like this when I was watering it and I picked up the tomatoes? And don't ask why there's like a fence around one of my crops and not around the other. How you doing? You want something to eat? Let me go hunt for you. I think I can kill birds. Where's that owl? That guardian of Ga'Hoole. That's a reference, people. If you haven't seen Guardians of Ga'Hoole, I probably don't blame you. That movie wasn't very well known except for when it came out. It was like all over the theaters, and then I was like, what's that movie? Did I gift you? I did not, did I? Miss Purple Heart, what are you, in the military or something? You're just telling me how to get you to like me. It's like, if you want me to fuck you. Sacrifice those to the goddess. We're gonna have like a bit of extra money after this. Yeah. There goes the moon. See, the seasons are actually seasons in this game. Hey there. Hey there, Mr. Dead Guy. Inferium essence. What? That's what I got from you? Ow! Ooh. Oh. So many tomatoes. Tomatoes. Keep trying to throw them in. Soon I'll be able to build that animal ranch. It's really cheap, actually. Gift. I appreciate this. It makes me so wet. Okay, I should stop. Dude, these tomatoes are rolling me in some of that precious dough. Eventually she'll want to marry me. Because that's how it works in real life too, obviously. I thought I had a good thing going with actual Jade. Just telling you. Until the Celtic ball, when she chose to dance with someone else instead of me. I was even like, hey Jade, do you want to dance? She's like, maybe next time. I'm like, jeez. Because, like, that's not a thing where you dance with, like, your girlfriend or something. It's like a thing where you dance with anyone, as long as they're a different gender. Or not. But, like, it was a Christian ball, so usually, yeah, usually it was a different gender. Hey, my seeds are still in that pool. Dude, I'm gonna have so much money tomorrow. Oh yeah. Never mind, I didn't have much. Remember when that skeleton sniped me? This wheat will take 28 days to grow, but it's kind of worth it. Wow, you died. Wow, you died. I think when you die, it goes like, wow, you died. Wow, wow, you died. Trying to drop hints at me? if all you want's a ring, then I'm sorry. The goddess hasn't died yet. I told you guys, I cheated it. I need 6K, so this is going to take a lot of farming. Oh yeah, I will... Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see what day it is. I need this or... Blueberries. Can't eat those yet. Hey. Yeah, I know you do. Oh, look. One tomato's already done. Hey, Jade. I'm stuck. Sorry, Jade. Thanks for your input, Jade. Get out of my crops now. He's like, you hit my sister, you die. Alright. Yes, Ulif is Russian, but everyone else in this game is Danish because that's where this game is from. Even though Mojang is Swedish. Every time I wake up, it's raining on my bed. Dude, you can set waypoints. Yeah, that's cool. What if she rejects me, guys? I can't handle rejection. Oh my gosh, look at all those tomatoes. This will definitely bring me up to 6K for sure. Did I just eat one? It's weird how one bush is at a different phase than all the rest. It's going to be a sad day when the tomatoes die. But then you got eggplants, which are worth more. We're already already watered this crop. I'll say once I get the animal farm, it's done. We're done for the day. For not for the day. Because I will be back later with more awesome content. Or maybe once I get married to Jade. Inferium Essence, I don't know what that is. What happens when you get married? Do they follow you around or something? Like a Dr. Treyaris from Dan TDM? Also, what happened to the googly eyes? They're not on me. They just choose whoever they want to be on. Water. You're almost dead? Oh. Guys, I'll have... Oh wait, I have 5,898. Guess it's berry collecting time. What was that? I think what we really need to do is we need to get this animal farm before autumn hits. Alright. Berry collecting time. Where are you, berries? There's poppies. Berry? Berry. I did not mean to plant that. Berry. 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 Barry Allen, The Flash. Because you can sell these berries. And that's just what I'll do. You know, one of these days, these berries are going to walk all over you. No, I'm kidding. I'm an idiot. Okay? Alright. Time to go to sleep. Time to go to sleep. It's Sunday anyway. I sleep on Sunday. I try to go to church, but then it's the rest of the day because I have to wake up early, you know? And usually I wake up at like 2 p.m. Today I did that exact thing. After someone came over and did stuff with me, and I was like, okay, bedtime. I have 6,000. Hey, Ginny. I bet she's talking about me. Hey, look who it is. It's Cool Dog. And I have a theory. is I don't want to have to clear out blocks, but I think that if you put an animal farm like over something, it should still, because he places air. But you know what? I think I'm just gonna clear it out anyway. Hey. Alright, time at 9, okay. Sell tomato. That's one way to sell the tomato. Hey, he knows my name. I'm going to clear out this area. You need a church, don't you? You need a church to marry. That makes sense. Alright, so guys, my AFK, my away from screen thing to do will be... Wait, it's time. It's time to buy it. Yes. Oh, this animal ranch is huge. I think I can put it like right here though. Let's see. Let's take a look around. Yeah, this should do. Yeah, it'll go through here, but he places air. Look, I'll show you. I'm just trying to get this wall away from... Yeah, look. Nice. Oh yeah, I have iron. Have I gifted you yet on this fine day? Oh, okay. If I go to bed, he'll keep working. But I don't think... No, I have watered them. Okay. You're still alive. But you're on land, so you're gonna die soon. Time to go water some crops. This turned out really well, I think. But look at that, he's building. Oh my gosh. Fresh printed money, bees and trees. Oh boy. Yeah. I know you do. Alright, well, my roommate's home, so... So thank you everybody so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, a comment, a subscribe, and share with all your friends. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Alright, bye-bye!